What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the PHDJ podcast. We are here with me, Joe Bunn. There's Mike Walter.
How are you?
What's up, my man? And, of course, bringing back our special guest, as promised, from around the world and Pittsburgh. My man, Digital Dave. Dave Landers here again, talking about our A to Z party playlist. We're back, and would we leave off on G?
He gave us the letter F, so we're picking up with G. Yeah, I love the fact that this was a happy accident. Jay Sims said this to me over a dinner recently. He's like,
now it's become 16 episodes.
And we've stretched this. But we got tons of compliments on the first two.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And that was the main reason. When Dave hit me up, he's like, hey, I got my list. I'm like, oh, let's make it a show. Or now 2 shows. Because,
or 2 shows.
Yeah.
So you've now made 4 shows out of a show that
out
he
of a
thought
mistake.
show that he thought already existed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate it. Send me some more show ideas that you think we already did. I appreciate that. Yeah. All right. So we went A through F last week. So if we're going to get G through Z, we got to get moving. Dave, give us your G song, party song beginning with the letter G.
So Mike, this one's gonna surprise you, and this one's something
you
that
always surprise me with your choice.
This would not have been on my list 2 years ago. It was something I played, but this year it's been one of my biggest throwback hip hop songs at weddings, and I played it at the vast majority of them. But "Going Down" by Young Jock.
Wow. I love that song.
Yeah, that shocks me. I can't even say that I've ever
Going
played
down.
That. Yeah, I know it, but yeah. All right.
Okay. I mean, yeah, no, that was a huge crossover hit. You know, I mean, definitely massive hip hop crossover in the vein of No Hands. It's about 5 years earlier than No Hands, but I mean, it was that big. And people love that song. And there's a little. It's not really like a dance with your feet. It almost looks like you're like revving a motorcycle, but there's actually a little dance with the video that people do. And the other songs I had in consideration there were a lot of G's. G's was a tough one, but I had Get Low, I had Good as Hell, and I had Good Life by Kanye.
I love that.
Those were G was a tough. There was a lot of G's in there.
Yeah. That song came out so long ago. He doesn't even go by Young Jeezy anymore. He's just Jeezy now.
Well, no, this was Young Jock.
Oh, that's right, Jock. Right.
I had a top 3 of G's, and none of them are the songs that you just mentioned. So
yeah, you had. What did you? I knew you had "Give Me Everything Tonight."
"Give Me Everything Tonight" was my choice, right. And "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" and "Good Vibrations" were like my top 2 and 3. Yeah.
Now, just to clarify, I was assuming you meant "Good Vibrations" by Marky Mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not the Beach Boys.
As opposed to the Beach Boys. But "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" that's one that, I mean, that was every wedding, every open format event staple for me, 20 years ago. But I think that one just, I don't know, at least with my crowds, it just faded. And I'll tell you what, once in a blue moon, I've tried to throw it in to see if I get a reaction from it. And I just really don't anymore.
If I'm banging the 80s and the 80s are really working, that it fits in. I've mixed that together with we mentioned last week, "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough," and 1999 a ton of times. That's good. They're all around the same BPMs. They're all in the same genre. They work for me.
Yeah,
I think I'm with Dave on it. I never pull "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" unless it's the bouquet toss, and they've chosen that.
Yeah, it can be common for that.
Anyway,
all right, the letter H.
Okay, the letter H was "Hollaback Girl."
Nice.
I love that one.
That's in my party playlist. I didn't include it. I had 2, "Hey Ya," and I've been banging the remix of the Kygo remix of "Higher Love" by Whitney Houston.
Good.
I just played it again the other night. It destroys.
So good.
Yeah. That was in consideration for me, was the "Higher Love," and the other thing was in consideration for me that I was surprised. I don't think either of you even mentioned was "Hot in Here."
Oh wow!
No,
we didn't mention.
Right,
it.
I didn't.
I
do still pull that though.
Yeah. The H's. I wanted to ask you, Mike. I made a note specifically about this, but I swear to you, and maybe I misheard or misunderstood, but that you referenced a version of Hey Ya that you had that ended cold, which every version of Hey Ya I've ever heard, other than like an outro version, has always had like a fade out ending. And if there was some version of that song in the ether I didn't know about that ended cold, I was actually interested.
Thought
in
so.
it.
Am I getting?
I do remember. No, I do remember you saying something like that, Mike. Interesting.
I think maybe I got to confuse them with Shake It Off, because I mean, to me, those two songs are, same BPM. I often play them back and forth. So if I did say that, maybe I got it confused with Shake It Off.
Maybe because I was going to say, like, for the purposes of and the reason you mentioned it was for the purposes of like you can let it end cold and jump to a different BPM range.
BPM shift.
And I was like,
I need that.
Basically that's where I was going with this.
Hey, listen, if I find it, I will send it to you. You've certainly sent me enough through the years. I can send you a song, but
legally,
I'm looking up now, legally, of course,
through Spotify links.
All right, your letter I. I suspect this. Joe and I both agreed on the letter I, right? Did we both go?
No, you did not.
Oh,
no,
Joe went with I Got a Feeling, right?
No,
and I went with I Want to Dance.
Joe went with I Want You Back.
That's right. I'm an I Want You Back guy.
Right. That was shocking. Yes, that's right. And is that where you're going?
I went with I Want You Back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I'm an ABC guy. I guess that's why it's not even in my top two that I put in.
I was hard because I had four very legit. I think you guys referenced I being hard too. I mean, I had four very legitimate choices. I want it that way. I want to dance with somebody. I Want You Back, and It's Tricky. All of which are huge songs for me.
It's Tricky is huge for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta bring that back. I gotta bring Tricky back.
It was really, really tough. But I've often said that I Want You Back. I've often said that if there was a draft and that you had to draft music, that I Want You Back would be the number one song on my draft board, because to me, that song, it came out in 1969. So it is now over 50 years old. And I mean, you can still play it I've played it in open format rooms where not a single person's over 30 and it just goes off. It's just one of those songs that, to me, that song is kind of almost it's almost the origin in a way of the hip hop beat. There was no hip hop aspect of like rap in that song, but to me, that song is really the first time in a beat you can hear kind of what became hip hop eventually.
I'm gonna play it this weekend. I promise. I will. And Any Love for It Takes Two, is that even in consideration, or is
it was not. I mean, that was one that I used to play in pretty heavily back in the day, but I don't play much anymore. I'm not going to say I never play it. I definitely still play it sometimes, but I don't. And I think it is still in my party playlist, but it's not.
It's in that between generation right now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it'll be back at some point.
Yeah.
When I'm like a grandparent, it's going to be hot.
No, I think sooner than that. Okay. All right. Let's go with J, the letter J.
So with J, I went with Juicy by Biggie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
I went with Juicy. My other,
if you get a Biggie request, like if somebody says, "Hey, play Biggie" with no song, is that the one you reach for, not Hypnotize?
It could be or Mo Money Mo Problems. I mean, those would be my three. If you're talking about like if it's at a wedding, obviously if it was at a club or something, it might be a different answer. I probably, if it was at a club, I probably wouldn't go so mainstream. Like it might be something like 10 Crack Commandments, but I think at a wedding, I mean, I actually got a request for it on New Year's Eve. I was doing a New Year's Eve wedding in DC and got a request for it, and it went off. And my other J's that were in there were Just a Friend by Biz Markie. Which always gets a great reaction for me. And the other one that was an interesting one was Juice by Lizzo. And Juice to me is one of those songs where I I don't know if I've ever. I could probably count on one hand the amount of times that I've actually gotten some sort of audible reaction from the crowd when I play it, but it is never not worked. Like, if I play Juice by Lizzo, I know the same amount of people are going to be on the dance floor when it's over as when it started. Like, it's an interesting song for me where it never goes gangbusters, but it also never fails.
Right. It was not nearly as big as the other two singles or whatever off the record.
No,
Can I just make a point real quick?
Juice was so. Go ahead, and then I do want to mention something else about Juice, though.
Well, I just wanted to say that I was right about Lizzo.
I knew you were going to go there.
That song Rumors absolutely tanked. I bet. I don't think any of us on this show can say we played it with any notable reaction. I didn't play it once.
Yeah, I played it maybe twice,
I shouldn't say that. I put it in when I was doing my monthly top hits. I put it in, I think, 1 or 2 months in a row.
All I'm saying is I was right about her. She
I think it's too early to say that, though.
Okay.
She,
all right.
5 years from now, if we barely remember, and I could say this about Juice. I don't even play it anymore. I took it out of my party playlist. It's not even in there anymore.
Okay.
So Juice was actually the song of hers that people discovered when it was new. Right. And then Good as Hell and Truth Hurts both came out before they existed before Juice. And then Juice put those on those songs on people's radar. Yeah, like people started looking into Lizzo's like back catalog after Juice came out, and they were like, oh, what's this song? Oh, what's that song? So because I think that Good as Hell came out in like 2016.
Yeah, I think that was a number of years old by the time.
Yeah, and then people were like, and I'm pretty sure, Truth Hurts was 2017. So. So both of those came out before, and then it was 2019 that Juice came out, and then people started, I guess, rediscovering old Lizzo songs. So
right. All right, letter K.
Letter K was Killing Me Softly by the Fugees.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. That's kind of an in-between song for me, like coming out of dinner kind of song or whatever. But yeah, I play that on the regular. I think I play your remix, in fact.
So that for me is that is almost always like a last song of the night for me. Oh, really? Encore song, yes. And I had it happen again at my DC wedding. I have had this happen a fair amount of times over the years where I play the end. So the version I have has the first verse, the chorus, and then the bridge that everybody likes to sing along to, where it goes, oh, yeah, and then one last chorus. And so many times after that last chorus, people start singing the oh again a cappella and literally go through the entire thing again. The crowd a cappella at the end of the night. Damn. And I've had it happen probably over 10 times in my career, which, for something like that, to happen that many times with that song is a lot.
That's really cool,
it's just such a cool reaction. So that's a big end of the night one for me. And the only song I had in competition with that was Knock Knock by Mac Miller.
Wow.
It could be because it's a Pittsburgh thing, but I'll tell you what, I still play it when I'm outside of Pittsburgh, and I still get reactions from it outside of Pittsburgh. So I don't know. I think Mac Miller was someone that really, to people that are probably in their like 20s now or maybe early 30s, that like he really meant a lot to them, but like he never really just got radio popular. But I think he was tremendously popular with this certain generation, even if he didn't get as much play on the radio.
By the way, speaking of that DC wedding, you looked very dapper in your black tie tuxedo. I saw those pictures on social, and I thought, wow, Joe burned his tuxedo. I guess Dave did. Or did you have to rent one for the night?
No,
he looks sharp.
In your closet?
Yes. So I will say, I thank you. So I went at a period and I got rid of. At one point, I think I got rid of my tux because not only were tuxes out, but also my tux, I lost weight and it was just, I was swimming in it. And I maybe had a year or two where I didn't have a tux. And then I went back and I got a new tux that fits me much better. But I will say I have a good amount of weddings now. So I felt like we hit a period, at least in my market, where tuxes were just totally out and it was suits for several years. And also there's a lot of barn weddings where suits made more sense. And recently, like I've been DJing, especially in like the big hotel weddings and the country club weddings.
Sure.
I've been having a lot more guests, weddings where the guests are
where it says on the invitation black tie.
Yeah, black tie or
black.
or at least the entire bridal party's wearing, and I try to match the bridal party. I mean, if it's something where the bridal party's going to wear a tux, I wear a tux. If it's something where they're going to wear a suit, I'll wear a suit. I try to kind of match the formality. I don't want to overdress compared to them, but I don't want to underdress compared to them either.
All right, we're never going to get through this list. Letter L.
Letter L. I went with
my battery, so we got to get moving.
I went with this might be a three-parter. I went with "Lose Yourself" by Eminem.
Great.
Okay. Yeah, your hip hop roots are showing through. Yeah.
And levitating was it was so hard, and I feel like I try to never be a prisoner of the moment, but I feel like levitating is going to last for a long time.
I do too.
It was
I
hard.
hope so. I love it. I think it's a great song.
Yeah. And I'm going to echo what Joe. Now, I played Let's Get Loud, Mike, which I know was yours. I played that in like clubs back in the early 2000s when it came out, but I've very rarely ever touched that.
It was my first song of the year, right after midnight.
I was going to say, I actually listened to that mix.
Oh, you did?
Yes. And I was going to say that I did hear that was your midnight, your midnight song.
I played that and Danza as my first two songs of the year.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I dropped Rosalita, and it was my fifth brew song of the night. That's wow. Yeah, that's a Jersey crowd for you right there. Okay, M.
So for I can't believe neither of you went with Mo Bamba. I mean, what is the problem here? No, I went. No. Mine was Mr. Brightside. That was a no-brainer. I was surprised, Mike, that I think Joe went with Mr. Brightside. Mike, I was surprised that you didn't, because I know you play that a lot too.
I just went with the longevity factor. I have played Moni Moni forever, and I love the fact that so many DJs don't play it because it makes it more unique. I think when I play it, it still goes over great. But yeah, I mean, Mr. Brightside is right up there. I had it as my 1A choice. So you listened to my mix. Did I slow it down too much on New Year's Eve?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Yeah, I had it pitched down to like a 125 to get it from Don't Stop Believing, and when I listened back, I was like, no, I guess it didn't, and it certainly didn't hurt my dance floor. But I usually don't go that far down. But
now let me ask this, because I know this was a thing way back in the day. But do most of the crowd still sing the hey
get laid, get fucked? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Or either that, or I think the She's Fat, I'm Drunk is out. I think with
I never heard that one.
I never heard that part.
Oh yeah,
that was a Jersey. That was regional.
I guess that was a tri-state area one. Yeah. Those are the two chants, and sometimes, like, if they do it, I'll be like, wait, what did you guys say? Just almost make it louder. Because Joe had gone with Brightside on that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think Joe went with Mo Money, Mo Problems.
Oh, that's right.
And then I think, Mike, you said you were surprised he didn't go with Mr. Brightside.
And then I was pissed off that
right. Because Joe, you said you have your rock songs in a different folder. I believe.
I do. Now I don't. I fixed it since this episode.
Letter N.
So for letter N, well, I guess this one's a little bit awkward, but I went with In Paris, Jay-Z and Kanye West. But I assume that would, based on the actual full name of the song, which I can't say in the podcast.
Right.
I'm assuming.
Please don't.
But I'm just saying, I'm assuming this is where it would fit.
It is. It is. N-word in Paris. You're right.
Yes.
Dun. I love that.
It was that and No Hands were so close, and I went with the Jay-Z and Kanye. That it was like 1A and 1B for me. It was a toss up.
I saw a TikTok the other day. I was crying of some guy asking Alexa to play the song without saying the word. It was a white guy, and he kept saying, "Alexa, play the song of Jay-Z and Kanye, and they're in Paris." And she's like, "I don't understand." Alexa, play. It went for like 5 minutes. I was crying. He kept trying. He's sweating. It was just like so well done. Like, oh
my
man,
God, that's funny.
Letter O.
I was with everybody on this, or actually no, you guys.
I did Old Time Rock and Roll.
With this. I went with Ocean Avenue.
yeah.
Yeah. Joe, do you remember what you
one more time? I think.
Yeah. Listen, I think that's a great call, and probably if you looked at calendar 2021, that's the song I played the most.
Right.
In the letter O, but I was kind of going a little bit on longevity,
Yeah.
P.
This P was such a hard one for me, and the big it was between Party in the USA and Public Service Announcement.
Oh, Jay-Z, I love that.
I'm gonna have to right now go with Party in the USA because Public Service Announcement's it still gets a good reaction, but I think like that was really in the my age range, kind of crowd. And now the couples are, 10 years younger than me. So I'm going to have to give Miley the edge there, but it was a tough one because that's my most played Jay-Z song, definitely at events. But yeah, wow. I'm going to go with Party in the USA. So we'll make it 3.
So I think the 3 of us agreed on that one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think we might on the letter Q too, because there's not a lot of choices here. What was your Q?
Actually, we did not agree on the letter Q. Mine was, and this was an easy one. I had no competition for this, but it was actually Questions by Chris Brown.
Wow.
Okay. And that was easy for you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Questions. Now, I don't play it at a ton of weddings. It's definitely a little more of a song I probably played at bars and clubs. But I mean, it's very appropriate. Because it's basically, if you're not familiar with it, it's the Chris Brown song that sampled Kevin Little "Turn Me On." So a lot of it is actually, it's actually a direct copy. Like
it's like an interpolation almost.
Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But and it's 106. So and it's got kind of it's like this mixed R&B meets reggae feel, a vibe of the beat. So yeah, I played the Backstreet Boys song back in the day, back in, high school and college. And I've tried to throw it in once or twice, but the energy on that's just so I don't know.
To me, it's a great coming at a dinner song. It's one of those non-committal. If people don't dance, they don't dance. But if they do, or they start bopping around, then I can launch it from there.
What did we say? I'm sorry. I'm spacing.
I think we both said quit playing.
Both said quit playing games.
Oh, right.
Yeah. How about the letter R for you?
I'm going to have to go with Respect, Aretha, which Mike was yours. I think Joe's was Ride With Me. I
do
play Respect at every show almost. Wedding.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other one I had in competition there was Rich Girl, actually, by Hall & Oates. Like that, actually, really? I play it a lot, and even young people know it, sing along to it. Like, if it's something you don't play, don't sleep on it. It's worth.
I have a redrum of that. I should try that.
Scooter. I think Scooter probably is. I have used the Scooter version, and it's the same. He just kind of bumped it up a little bit, so it's just got a little more kick.
I love that.
S.
But yeah, S might have been my hardest letter. I think.
Yeah, there's a ton of S's. I mean, just a lot. Yeah.
So
good ones. Ton of good ones.
So yeah, where I ended up at was, Savage by Megan Thee Stallion probably was never going to make it, but it at least got thrown in there. Super Bass by Nicki Minaj.
Sure.
But my big 3 were September, Shut Up and Dance, and Sugar We're Going Down. So those were. It was really hard. I'm gonna go with Sugar We're Going Down if I got.
Yeah.
I know
that was your choice, Joe.
I know that is Joe likes to destroy
I like to
sound
break shit on that.
equipment.
Yes, that's the infamous Joe Bunn standing over your laptop
is that
picture.
when that
Yeah.
happens?
Yes, yes.
And for anybody, let me just clarify that record.
for anybody
Somebody
that's-
called me up there. Number one, I was called.
I did.
Right, and I'm out there partying like a normal person, and somebody's like, "He's calling you up there." Like this is
shirtless in a room full
all
of
right.
dudes.
Ricardo from LJDJs ripped my shirt off, okay, because I had buttons on it, and I never wear a shirt with buttons, and I guess he was enticed by the buttons, and he ripped my shirt off.
All right.
Anyway, let's keep going.
And then for those of you that have seen that picture, after it took 5 people to get Joe off the table without falling, including hotel security. I didn't even know there was hotel security.
I didn't either.
Hotel
Somebody told me that
security showed
later.
up.
Right.
And then Joe looked at me with the dead serious, straightest face, and he's like, "Dave, I'd never do anything.
I would
to your
never fuck your
laptop."
shit up. And I was truthful. I was totally lucid, dude. Everybody was like, "Dude, you were gonna trash it." I was like, I literally was balancing on one foot like this.
I was waiting for the whole table to go over.
No, I knew what I was doing. It was a move.
But
anyway,
but Sugar We're Going Down to me
God.
is kind of becoming the new Mr. Brightside in a way. I mean, it's an every wedding song. It doesn't matter whether people ask for pop punk. Or
I was about to say it. I'm playing it. I'm playing it regardless if you want it.
But see, I must get older couples, and I probably do because of my age. But there are some couples I work with nowadays that if I tried to post the pop punk or whatever it is, it wouldn't go over because that's not their retro. So
their generation, right?
I don't always dip into that generation yet. When I do, Sugar We're Going Down is definitely in there.
Let me insert one quick story before we move on. You guys will like this. So we were doing that challenge last night, this clean up your crates challenge. Drew Pierce was the guest, who everybody knows probably. He's amazing editor, DJ, blah blah blah. And also in this VIP room, which we did after the show, there was about maybe 60, 70 people, and his mentor came on, Steve Burdick. And he's in the group, and Drew sees him as Drew's answering a question. He's like, "I got to tell you guys a story." He said, "Before I went out as a private events DJ, I went out with Steve, and I was like, I don't want to be a private event DJ. I want to be a club DJ. Blah blah blah." This was when he was younger, and that guy Steve told him, he goes, "You know what, man? One thing I do every show is I always play at least one record for myself. I always pull something. I don't care." What it is. I'll make it work. I'll sandwich it between 2 bangers or whatever I've got to do. But I always pull a record that I love, and that keeps me going. Or that's one of those things. It's kind of like keeping my one foot still in the club world or in the artist world, if you will. And I love that story, man. He told that last night. I was like, wow, that just made the whole VIP experience for me.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love that story too. And
my experience though is if you play one of your favorite songs too often at gigs, then it becomes a gig song, and then I
agree. No, I think he meant like he would pull a obscure Beatles. I don't know. I'm just making shit up, but I love it.
Anyways, I wanted to one other thing, Mike, that you said about you mentioned September, and you were talking about if I was hollering at my phone.
Is that when
I do not find September cheesy at all.
Okay.
And I have 2 theories on that. Theory number 1 is just that it's a great record. But the other theory is I don't feel like, and you can maybe tell me better, and you can tell me in your market, I don't feel like September. I feel like September became a thing more like 15 years ago or so, because when I was DJing in my very young years in the 90s, I remember that Let's Groove, I felt, was the more go-to Earth, Wind, and Fire song than September. And I felt like in the 2000s, September kind of overtook it.
That's not been my experience. I've played September my entire career. If you ask me at any point, hey, play an Earth, Wind, and Fire song, September was the choice.
Man, I might agree with Dave on that. And I remember playing a lot of that, and I also remember playing a lot of the Gap Band. You Dropped a Bomb on me. It was huge. I used to play those near each other, I feel like. Anyway.
Well, I remember Let's Groove was one of those things that a lot of people it was one of those songs people would come up with the wrong title, and they always called it Spice of Life. Right. And when I was young, I'm like, what the hell is Spice? I remember We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off by Jermaine Stewart, which I
Yes.
love.
Fucking love that song.
People have called that song cherry wine for
Yes.
years. And I didn't even know. It's funny. I'd be like telling people like, I've never heard of cherry wine. I don't have that song. Meanwhile, I like this song. I would have actually loved to have played the song. And I had no clue for years what people were asking for, because I'm like, I don't have a song called cherry wine. Like, what?
By the way, I would argue Boogie Wonderland is like if I already
Interesting.
played September and somebody came up and said, "Hey, do some more Earth, Wind, and Fire," I would go with Boogie Wonderland is over Let's Groove Tonight.
Now, do you ever play like coming out of dinner or during dinner Brazilian Rhyme?
You got me stumped. Is that Earth, Wind, and Fire?
Yeah. Look
even know
up
if I have it on my
Brazilian
hard
Rhyme. Brazilian Rhyme by Earth, Wind, and Fire. It's the one that goes da 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 da.
Oh, I do know that horn.
Da, 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 da. It's basically just them all kind of harmonizing over. There's not really words to it, but it's mainly an instrumental. But it's like in the teen. It's like a fifth, maybe 115 kind of song. It's not a dancing song, but it's either a good like during dinner or coming out of dinner song. But
All right, let's see if we can finish this up. Letter T.
Geez, Trap Queen.
Oh wow!
Again, your hip hop roots are really showing through. Yeah, that wasn't even in my top three. TU.
I'm Uptown Funk. That was an easy one.
Just because you don't have a lot of choices, right? Also,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and I love that record. I mean, I know it's definitely overplayed, but like that was one. I remember the first night. I never do this. The first night it came out. Now, granted, I was just at a bar that night. I heard the song on the way to a bar, and I played the song 3 times that night at the bar. I never play stuff twice, but I just wanted to hear it again. I'm like, this song is.
This is so good, right?
One of my DJs sent me a link to it, and he's like, "Dude, you're gonna love this song because I know you love Prince." And I heard it, and I had the same reaction. I played it that weekend. It's such a great song. The letter V.
Valerie by Amy Winehouse.
Oh, that's a great one. That is a really, really good one. Yeah.
I love that song. What did we say, Dave?
You guys both, I think, went Vivi or Mi Vida.
I went with
right.
the Mark Anthony. Yeah,
That's
you sure you went with that
I
too?
did.
Yeah.
I did. I was like, this is the most
That's
like
the one
gringo.
Latin song you played.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's, I think, kind of why I don't play it is because I consider, I mean, that to me is like a kind of like a cheesy.
It's the celebration
Latin song,
of
yeah,
absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
that's I think why to me like Danza Kuduro still has some like coolness factor. Like
It does.
Like, Vida is like.
Are you playing the album version of Valerie? I'm sorry, I just need to come back
Valerie.
to that. Yeah. Okay.
So I'll play if I was playing it for dancing purposes, I'd play the up tempo, like original version. But then there's like a version called the 68 version.
I've got that.
It's like that half tempo,
It's
most
unreal.
hip hop kind of beat. And like if I'm playing it during dinner, I would play that version. So
Just
it would
making
depend on when I was playing it. But,
Same. Okay.
W.
This one was a little tough, but I'm gonna go with
Tough because you had so many choices.
Well, I had a couple choices, not like some, but I had 3 choices. So I had "We're Never Getting Back Together" by Taylor Swift.
Wow.
Nice.
"Whatever You Like" by T.I., and I went with "Without Me" by Eminem. And that is something I just started replaying again this year. It is funny. There's a photographer who I work with a lot, and she's a really good friend of mine, Caitlin Thomas. And her second shooter, Emma, actually like literally at a wedding asked me about "Without Me" this year. And I played it, and it went off at the wedding. And then I just started playing it at like a lot of weddings, and it's been like going off pretty much everywhere.
Into my party playlist.
Yeah, that was.
Wait, what was the third one? We're never getting back together.
And "Whatever You Like" by T.I.
Yeah, I love that.
That's a great song.
Yeah.
X is hard because there's just not a lot of choices.
Yeah. So the one I went with, I'm actually surprised, Joe, that you did not go with this. But and this is something I don't really play much at weddings, but if I had to pick an X, I definitely played at clubs. It was "EXO Tour Life" by Lil Uzi Vert, which I know you're a Lil Uzi fan.
Yeah, I am. My son loves that song too.
The other thing that was in consideration, which Mike, this might be one worth you dropping is X by Nicky Jam and J Balvin. It's got a very mi gente kind of vibe to it.
I have played it before, but yeah.
Yep, I have to. I got that in my heart.
And by the way, we're not even going to talk about Z because I fucked up so bad last time. So we'll make the letter Y the last one.
Oh no, we're talking about Z.
All right,
because that was the second time I was screaming at my phone. I get the first song and the last song.
Did you know before Joe looked it up that I was wrong?
Absolutely,
right
absolutely.
Okay.
I would. So let's just get
not
through.
Right.
Okay.
Let's get Y first, and then
Y,
we'll get to my biggest gaffe ever.
Yes, which is "You Belong with Me" by Taylor Swift. Wow. I did have. I mean, yeah, it would be my second, but that "You Belong with Me" has just been like crushing it for me.
Wow.
And
I got to get back on the Taylor train.
I know you're a hater, dude.
I'm not a hater.
She's been so big with all the new, she's been re-releasing all the old stuff.
That's unbelievable. That story's incredible. Anyway, all right. I'm sorry.
But anyway, so I'm listening, and Mike says Zombie Nation, and I mean this, we play this every kickoff after the Steelers and actually I think in the Steelers computer it's mislabeled too. So it is a very common over the years.
Oh, good. All right. So I'm not the only one.
Nobody comes up and says, "Can you play Current Craft 400?" But the funny thing is, multiple times, which I appreciate through the episode, Mike's talking about, well, if there's a song with the, should we even include the? You're talking about everybody, Backstreet Boys, and the, what part is in parentheses and 500 Miles, and the Proclaimers, and Mike is being, which I'm the same way. I appreciate, right? You're being a stickler with the titles, and then you have that title and the artist reversed, and I'm like, oh my god! I'm like, if he and thank God,
are they going to let this go through?
Right.
I'm like, something's not right here, man.
I'm so glad you looked that up. Yeah. We would have had to do like the whole next.
Oh God,
public apology.
Yeah.
I never even watched Game of Thrones, but we could have done the shame.
Yeah. Me neither, but I just know about the shame bell from Howard Stern. Which
right. That's the same way how I know that reference. Yeah. So what is your Z? Do you have a Z?
I went with Joe on this one. I went with ZZ by Kodak Black and Travis Scott. I mean, it's definitely a big club song for me, and not really. It'd have to be a really hip hoppy wedding, even more than normal for me. But that was going to be the top thing I had. The other one that I thought was worth mentioning, and again, Mike, this might be a good one for you with your crowds, is Don Omar Zumba, which is it's kind of the same tempo as Danza Kuduro, maybe 1 or 2 BPMs lower, but it's got a very similar vibe, and was definitely another big song of his. Might be worth throwing.
Well, once I was corrected and pointed out, then I went with Zoot Riot. I think that would be.
So I think that was.
And again, just because, although the song I've probably played the most throughout my entire career is Zorba the Greek, because I do get a good share of Greek weddings, and that is that's the in the mood of a Greek crowd. Zorba the Greek. It's a typical Greek song that starts slow, but by the end it's like 180 BPMs. So I wouldn't put it in because it's just based on a nationality wedding. But I probably played that one the most throughout my career as far as these songs.
I mean, I only have about maybe 5 or 6 Z songs. I have Zero by Smashing Pumpkins, ZZ, Zumba, Zombie by the Cranberries.
We taught about
and Is That You, Santa Claus by Louis Armstrong.
Is that you?
Is that you, Santa Claus?
Yeah.
That's about. I mean, I have like six or 7 Z songs.
I've got some great notes. I got some work to do. I've been redoing my stuff anyway.
You mentioned in the last episode about your programming class, which is coming up. Say it again, January 26th.
So January 26th. If you go to djdigitaldave.sellfy.store, that's SELLFY.store. You can also, if you go to my Instagram, which is at djdigitaldave1, you can go to the link, my Instagram bio and get to the store that way too. So January 26th, I'm going to do my programming class. It is going to be 2 hours, and it is going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern time. That is a that is a Wednesday night, and $50. This is something I've given it a ton of conferences. I've done the shorter version at conferences. You can get the long extended, 2-hour super in-depth version live here on Zoom. And the other thing that I wanted to mention also on my Selfie site here, I'm going to be putting up a list of my top 50 songs of 2020 and 2021.
Wow.
And I put those together because really 2020 ended up being like a, funky year, and kind of some of the music that came out didn't get its fair shake in 2020. So I basically took my top songs from both of those years combined and put them all together. And this list is going to be both a club list. It's going to be from every gig I played. So, I play clubs. I played, the pit basketball, football games. I play obviously weddings, corporate events. Like this is just my total play counts. But I'll go in depth. Like if I have 3 versions of Levitating I added the total of all 3 versions up. So I'm getting a very accurate, count here. And so I'm going to put that list up on my store as well. And I'm actually going to make a code PHDJ, where listeners can actually just download that for free. So it is going to be, if it's not someone with the code, there is going to be a price on it. But if you use the code PHDJ,
a gift for our listeners. That's awesome.
Yes.
That's
very
cool.
Nice. Very cool.
So
very cool.
So that is that.
This was fun, man.
This was fun. I enjoyed
Always love
it.
talking music, especially with somebody as expert in the field as yourself. This is really
super
great.
fun, man. Love this episode. Love both of them, man. Thanks for being on, Mike. Great to see you. Happy New Year to you both, man. Let's keep it rocking and keep people dancing, and everybody listening. Thank y'all. Please keep on listening. We'll keep on doing it as long as y'all keep on listening.
That's it. Cheers.